James, when I started to play pickleball, my first 5 tournaments, I had to turn in a paper entry. I had to actually write it on an entry form and mail it in, and then call the tournament director and be like, "Hey, did you get my mail?" He goes, "Well, the postman doesn't come till 4:30. I don't know if you're in the tournament or not."
Okay, I got Altaf Merchant on the podcast. He is a legend of the game. This is a pretty big deal because I don't think he's gone on any podcast. The other podcasts haven't been worthy of Altaf, but mine has.
James,
So,
this is the first time. This is the first time. You have no idea. I was like, when you texted me last night and said, "I want you to be on a podcast," I didn't even know what to do. I was like, "Does my computer allow podcast?" I had no idea. And then like all day long, I've been like troubleshooting. I did like 5 or 6 microphone tests, did everything. I even got my, Amsterdam cup to match my shirt because I knew you're gonna be wearing red, and
oh yeah,
showered, shaved, had 2 cups of coffee. I'm ready to go, baby. Let's do
let's
this.
go. Let's go. I've had 2 cups of coffee as well. So this should be, So for the people who don't know, Altaf came out and played the Atlanta PPA with Austin Gridley, and he took out at least 2 premier players, 4 challenger players. I think he destroyed Travis and Julian. Sorry to Travis and Julian to have to bring that up, but I mean, the guy is he made his presence felt. So I guess first off, how did that tournament go for you, and walk us through that?
Well, first off, James, when I get up in the morning, I make my presence felt. Okay, me driving the car to the courts, I make my presence felt. So you've been around me long enough to know, when Altaf's in the building.
Oh
When
yeah.
I'm in the house.
Oh yeah.
Um, you know, I got to tell you, it was you were a big part of the motivation for the weekend because you've been texting me since Monday. I'm sitting here with Brandon Long, and he's going to beat you guys 1-1, and Matt Wright's going to bet $300, and you guys had all these butterfly spreads and all these kinds of weird things going on. And I go, listen, if I can get my man Gridley to have a good night's rest, be ready to go, have his famous Google shirt on, we're ready to rock. And I got to tell you, Gridley, Austin, we played in Beer City last year, and we played incredible. We had a great tournament, but we had a really bad last match. And Austin has been bothering me for a year now. It took me like 6 months to even unblock him. Okay. But he's been bothering me for a year now. And he goes, Altaf, I promise you I could do this. Give me one more chance. And I mean, Austin's amazing. He's a great guy, but he was fired up. I was the match that kind of escaped under the radar. Sincola Long is a battle. We've played them so many times. I played John so many times. Brandon's a street fighter, and I love these guys. But the match that was under the radar was Carpa and Dow. And
Yeah.
those guys were up like 14-8 on us.
Oh yeah.
And the Griddler, he just tried to do this weird Karate Kid, taking balls from his ankles, spinning stuff. Dow was looking at me like, what's happening? And I'm like, please don't call a timeout. Please don't call a timeout. Nobody shout. Don't wake up Gridley. We won 16-14. And the only thing I did in that match at 15-14, I hit a put away. And I grunted. And if you saw that put away, you thought I won the match. But Gridley carried us. And I'm telling you right now, that was the match that we played awesome. Travis and Julian was a good match. They just lost to Matt and Riley. So I got to put that disclaimer out there. You play on center court. You come back down. They had a little bit of a letdown. And I just told Austin, I go, please be quiet. Don't say a single word at all. Put them to sleep. They're going to have an emotional letdown. Let's make sure they get underground with their emotions. And after the match, I don't care if you scream, if they can hear you all the way to Chattanooga. I don't care. But don't say a word till the match is over. And Austin played that to a T. He was quiet, didn't say a word. But yeah, it was great. And I played some rec with you that weekend, and played some with your sister. What a fun weekend. Love the Atlanta PPA.
Yeah, that was impressive. It's funny. I had Greg Dow on my podcast like a couple weeks ago, and I asked him, I was like, what happened? Because I heard they were up 14-8, and he told me, he's like, the Gridler got hot. And I couldn't even conceptualize the Gridler getting hot. I didn't even know what he was saying. But I guess that's true.
The Gridler's got hot 3 times in his life. Once against Greg Dow, last year, Beer City, first round. James, not kidding. Ryler and Rafa against Gridler and Altaf. It's a toss-up at best. We win like 1-1.
Oh
And
my
I think
God.
I think Rafa made like 3 bad calls to get 2 points. Okay.
Wow.
One for a side out, or maybe he made 4 bad calls. I don't know. But it was like 1-1. And Rafa was like looking at me like, what's Gridler doing? And then, of course, when he took down Ben and Colin Johns. I mean, Gridler's had 3 amazing matches.
I had no
And that's it.
idea. Yeah, somebody had told me that like a month ago that he beat Ben and Colin. And I just didn't, I thought that was a joke. But
No, not only
oof.
did he beat Ben and Colin, not only did he beat Ben and Colin, that's one thing. Philip Locklear beat Ben and Colin. Philip
Yeah.
Locklear won the match. It was very quiet. I saw him the next week. He's like, Altaf, how's it going? You want to play some rec? Gridler beats Ben and Colin and then makes a video on how to beat Ben and Colin. I mean, that's the Gridler.
That's hilarious. So we got to ask, because you are a legend of the game. You've been around for a long time. And how did you get started playing pickleball? Like, how did you start with tournaments, or like, were you just playing around at first? How did that go?
James, when I started to play pickleball, I was talking about this morning with Ashley. I was going on a run. My first 5 tournaments, I had to turn in a paper entry. I had to actually write it on an entry form and mail it in, and then call the tournament director and be like, hey, did you get my mail? He goes, well, the postman doesn't come till 4:30. I don't know if you're in the tournament or not. And it was like $40 to enter. But I actually started playing in 2017. The local gym in Owensboro, there was a bunch of people playing pickleball, and I showed up and I started to play, and I'm like, man, this is awesome. And just like everybody, I mean, there's millions of stories about pickleball first love, right? It was like love at first sight. It wasn't like I'm going to come back. Loved it. I didn't know anything about the rules. I was a lot better. Like Anna Bright would have wanted to play with me at that time because I was stepping in the kitchen. I was volleying. My lateral was so good. It was 2017. I mean,
Back in the day,
42-year-old Altaf. I mean, come
back in
on,
your
right?
prime. Yeah.
Totally. And so I loved it right away. And about a week after I started to play, this dude showed up at this open play, and he goes, man, if you really want to play, you got to go to Evansville, Indiana, which is like 45 minutes from home. So I show up there, meet this guy called Brian Pointer, who became my doubles partner. He actually won the national seniors with Dave. And Brian says to me, if you really want to play pickleball, we got to go to Indianapolis because there's a guy called Rick Witzkin
Oh, okay.
who plays, this is the kicker, who plays with the ball called the Dura ball. And
Oh,
we're playing with
wow.
these big jugs balls. And I go, whoa, I'm playing with the Dura. So we go up there, and I can't wait to see this ball. I'm like, wonder what's going to happen with this ball. And when we got done playing, Witzkin's like, dude, you can play. And then about a few months later, I played my first tournament. And just like everybody in the Midwest, I met the Godfather, Dave Weinbach,
Dave Weinbach.
who I've beaten twice this year. Twice, Weinbach.
I saw that. I watched that in Atlanta.
But yeah, and Weinbach, Zane, Sincola, we all were starting at the same time. And we'd all go to Madison. There was not a lot of tournaments. And we'd spend all weekend. We'd eat Indian food and play 8 hours of pickleball. And that's where I got my love for pickleball. And that's where all those guys started to eat Indian food.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's for people who don't know, actually, me and Altaf go way back, sort of. So I was a student at Vandy, and I had like nobody to play with, like some local, we might have had Tursky come over or something. Who knows, right? Except for Dave. Or Davis, my friend.
Davis, yeah. He's got a picture. By the way, Davis, Instagram, he's got one picture, him in Paris-Todd, winning a tournament. That's it. He didn't need anything else. He's got a picture with Paris-Todd. I'm like, I want a picture with Paris-Todd.
Yeah, so that's his claim to fame, I guess. So basically I had nobody there, and somebody told me at the time, because I didn't know how to play doubles. I had no real concept of the pro game. They said, there's this guy, Altaf Merchant, who lives in Kentucky, and he will destroy you. That was the first thing they said to me. I was like, okay, I mean, I don't know anything about pickleball. He probably will. And they were right. Because when you first came, I couldn't really dink. You were, any dink I hit now, Altaf is to credit for that. He taught me how to dink. He taught me everything I know, basically.
Well, you went from hitting the dink to me up here for a put away to up here and like bagging me the whole time. But I still remember, James, the first time I heard about you. Well, you were playing a singles at one of the APPs, but I was giving Anna a ride to the airport after Battle of the Sexes, and she was telling me about my boyfriend and James and all this stuff. And then you come up to me at MLP Austin and be like, man, you can play. Like, I thought you were some old dude. That was the first thing you ever told me. And I was like, I will destroy that kid. I will destroy him. And I was so, when I remember the first time I played you in Nashville, I left there and I was driving back. I called Sincola and I said, I got to tell you, I might have found the next Triple Crown champion in pickleball. I said, I just saw a guy that can do stuff around his waist, speed up stuff. I said, you don't know how to dink as yet, but I could have found the next Triple Crown champion because at that time, you were still a singles player.
Oh yeah.
Big time.
Oh yeah.
You were a
Oh
big
yeah.
time singles player.
Yeah, I
But
had
those are
no
some
idea.
fun days. Those were
That was
fun days.
fun.
I mean, that 3 month period of drilling like every week and you playing tournaments and coming back, and it was awesome. By the third time we played skinny singles, you were beating me.
Yeah, hardly. Well, it's funny. So I had this friend Davis who basically he was living on my floor. He had nothing to do. He just wanted to play pickleball. And he met Altaf and he was just enamored with how Altaf was just at first like just dominating me, slicing the dinks. Basically, Dave told me after that day, he was like, I just want to be like Altaf. I think that's how good I can be. That's my ceiling because Dave's a lefty around Altaf's size. And since then, Dave's been watching you like any match you play. He's like, yo, did you see Altaf did this and that? And like, so he's probably your biggest fan to date.
Yeah, there's really every Altaf match. There's three things that always happen. There's a hip thrust, there's Davis watching, and there's my mom watching. Those are the three things every match. The rest I don't know, but those three things are always there in every Altaf match since
Those
last
are the
October.
guarantees. Yeah. I remember it when I first, so for that June MLP in 2022, what you were talking about in Austin,
Yep.
I was just a singles player. I had no idea how to play doubles, and I was just there to watch Anna. And I think the first or second thing that I saw there was I show up, you're playing with Dylan Frazier, and I see you, and I'm like, okay, this guy is like he's probably 3 times my age almost. Like, what am I doing here? What is this sport? And somebody speeds the ball up at you and you just countered it right down for a winner. And you stared at him with like such an intense look. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? This guy's focused. So that was my vivid memory from that.
Yeah, I'll still never forget. I came off the court and you go, I thought you were some like old dude, like Anna was talking about it. You can play pickleball. I was like, wow.
I was shocked. So speaking of MLP, we got to talk about this because the draft is in 2 days and you're somebody who's on the bubble. You've been playing really well recently. What do you think? Everybody knows that your men's doubles game is going to be probably top 10 in terms of challenger. I mean, that's a given, but for the people who say maybe Altaf's mixed to singles, they don't know about you in the Dream Breakers in Austin. So maybe you should educate the people on that.
Well, here's the deal. I think MLP is a very, very unique format, right? As you know. And what I bring to the table, there's no duper, there's no way to quantify that, right? It's an intangible that you can't, but anybody that's played against me knows that I'm going to bring the intensity and the energy. But the people that have been around me know off court the relationship I have with my fellow competitors, right? And it's a cool relationship. I mean, you've seen the relationship we have, the friendship I have with Matt, Dylan, Fed. I mean, after that US Open finals when I won the men's seniors, every single one of these guys was on a group text texting because I have that relationship and friendship. So I think that brings a team together. And I think I have the ability
100%.
to get a team together, that intangible, to fire them up. And I have a heck of a lot of experience and strategy. James, in rally scoring, is pretty simple. Being a left-hander in singles is a big deal because we're going, let's say, right side to right side, and you serve to me. My natural return is going deep to the corner in your backhand. So you're going to hit a running backhand pass. Now, challenger level, guys hitting one-handed running backhand passes, I like my chances. I'm not saying I'm winning every point, but I think I'm going to win 80%. So that's 1-0. In a regular match, it's still 0-0, and I'm serving there on the right side. And the dude can go back to my backhand, and we're right where we started. And then after 10 points, I get worn out, and you win, 11-3, 11-0. But in rally scoring, I'm up 1-0. Now I'm hooking my serve left side to your backhand. You're going to hit a backhand return coming in with me sitting dead on with a forehand passing shot. I got 3-4 different spots. So I think I played enough rally scoring points that a lot of the times I feel like 2.5 to 3 points I can get. And that's what happened the last Dream Breaker. I mean, I was playing Michelle Escoel, and there was a time where we were down like 11-9, and I won 4 straight points to go 13-11, and that changed the momentum there. Mixed doubles, the biggest change in my game, physically has been last 6 months of the year, I took some time off. I only played like Hilton Head in Vegas, and I really healed because, when you're playing all the time, you constantly have little nicks and pains and little things, right? In those 6 months, I healed my body. I got back to my old tennis workouts, a lot of jump roping, a lot of footwork drills, and that showed at the US Open mixed doubles. I mean, I won the US Open mixed doubles, and I was moving really well. But most importantly, the paddle. Like, I was not getting any stronger. I could get a little bit sharper, but I'm not getting any stronger. But going from the Evoke Premier to the Raw Carbon, that gave me that additional pop. And I played the Kawamotos this weekend, and it takes me about 11.9 shots to put away the Kawamotos. 11.9 put away. I was at like 9.3, 8.7. I mean, I was like, dude, well, you take that away. That's like four less shots to put away the Kawamotos on 1 point. All over, MLP match. That's 80 less balls that I hit. I'm fresh as can be, baby.
Oh, yeah. And the other thing, too, that's like an underrated aspect of this, well, there's 2 things. So for somebody like you know so much about the game. You've been playing for so long. And like for a premier team, that's one thing. But for a challenger team, that's a bigger deal because the challenger players are a little less experienced. They're maybe not so sure of what the right shot is or how to go about things, but and that's kind of like having a second coach in a lot of ways. And I think that's valuable.
Yeah, I think on if I was playing Premier, I would play men's doubles and then check out, get a sub to sub in. I say, hey, Fed, I want you to sub in for me, and I'm going to be your coach. That's it. I put on some flip flops and coach the guys, okay, and motivate them. But in the challenger, I truly believe I can win every men's doubles match. I really believe I can, and I feel like I can do enough to get a team. And you've been around me when we've drilled and stuff, and our drills have not been like, hey, let's just do some dinks. I mean, we've been pretty strategic in some of the stuff that we've done. And if I'm part of a team that's willing to work and say, hey, let's pick a weekend, let's get together and let's work on stuff. Hey, I'll be in, and this is the most amped I've been for MLP. Last year, Austin, I felt like I did great. We were undefeated. And then we were 16-15 with Rafa and Zane up 1-0 in men's doubles. And Rafa got hot. He won a bunch of hands battles and they won that match. And then I got dropped for Pablo. And I mean, heck, I'd drop me for Pablo too. I mean, Pablo's great, okay? I'd drop me for Pablo anytime. So I was totally fine with that. I thought somebody else would pick me up. And then when I didn't get picked up by somebody, it just, it really was mentally, I was like, well, everybody said, Altaf, you're going to be playing seniors, give the young guys a chance. And so I really felt like my time was gone. And then this time around, after Atlanta and playing rec with a lot of the regular men's pros, I'm like, sorry, it's still my time. I mean, it's my time in the challenger, not premier, and I can help out any challenger team. End of story.
For sure. And one other thing too that's really important, I think, in mixed, especially with challenger women, is just having a good chemistry with the partner. Because a lot of the challenger women, like if it's a 3rd round challenger girl, 4th round challenger girl who's only been playing for 6 months, maybe she's not so confident in her game. She needs a partner who's nice and who is like going to be a good partner. And you definitely will be.
Good looking, smells good. Come on. After the match, guaranteed Indian food. I mean, come on, what do you want? Right?
Yeah. What more could you ask for?
What can you ask for? But James, here's the you bring up a really good point. In this past 3 weeks, I've been hitting every day for 2.5 hours with Allison Harris. And she Nashville gal. Her dad, by the way, lives in 505 Broadway, where we used to practice.
Oh, okay, nice.
Allison literally said to me, hey, listen, I heard you on the area. Can I train with you? And I'm like, sure. She drives 4 hours round trip every other day. Leaves at 4:30 in the morning to get here at 6:30 to drill with me for 2 hours before I get to work. Okay. And, the same thing with Rachel out of Indianapolis, Rohrabacher. I mean, all these gals in this area, we've been really fortunate. Mari Humber, there's just a bunch of girls in this area that are coming out to train and drill. And so I feel like that second girl pick on the challenger level, I know, really well. And I feel like I can, I can mentor them, be a teammate, and then like you, James, just watch them graduate to the Premier League.
So one thing also that we got to cover is I had a mild hip problem. I'm already starting to recover from it, and I'm recovering fast. And what that means is, for people who don't know, I'm going to be playing Beer City, and my men's doubles partner is right in front of you. So I just want to, yeah, we got to apologize to our future, whoever else has signed up for men's doubles in Beer City. This is a preemptive apology because it's going to be tough for him.
It's going to be, I promise you, it's going to be tough. It's going to be loud. They're going to hear stuff that they've never heard before. And I mean, it's just going to be great. I really want to play like Dylan and JW, because I think Dylan and JW will probably call a timeout and just start laughing, because I think those two guys will do that. And, Dylan and I have this thing going on who's going to get on the podium more times this year. And then I have to like give him extra points because he's playing regular pro and all this stuff just to keep it close, because I'm like dominating, right? And so, but no, James, it's going to be awesome. There was a list of players that and by the way, I'm going to go back to MLP because I know the draft is in 2 days. The one thing that people did not, everybody knows me as being Zane's partner, right? Zane and I did really well together for a couple of years. But last year, I got on the podium like 5 times with 5 different guys.
Mm-hmm.
And because, Zane was trying out different partners. And so I was playing with Farias. I was playing with, Austin Gridley. I played with Sincola, played with Rick Witskin. So I got on the podium 5 times with 5 different guys. And that to me is an MLP player. Because
exactly.
in MLP, you don't pick your partner and commit for the whole year and then grow together. You got one weekend to get it together. And so I think that's very huge when it comes to MLP.
Yeah, for sure. Being flexible, being malleable, playing with different people. I mean, how hard could it possibly be playing with Altaf? He doesn't miss it. I don't think I've ever seen you miss a dink. Guaranteed Indian food after. It's like the best deal you could possibly have.
I mean, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait for Beer City because it's gonna be a long week for me. And I got my Beer City week is bookended between Coop and James. I'm playing the money ball with Coop, and then I got Badger, Eva, some senior matches in between, and then I got you, and this is it. Like, I mean, I know like Thursday night and Friday after playing mixed doubles, I'm gonna be like, man, I'm tired. Saturday morning, I'm gonna wake up. James, 4:30, you're gonna start getting text messages from me.
Let's go.
Let's go.
So also for your pro tournaments for the remainder of this year, maybe just give us a look at who your partners are, what your schedule looks like in men's and mixed.
So in yours, I'm playing I'm like senior pro, right?
Yeah.
I got a few senior pros. So I got Dane coming up for a couple. I got the Badger, of course, for Beer City. I got Dane for the LAPPA, for TOC. I got Murcha for the St. Louis APP. One day only, just playing one day. And then, of course, the split age at Nationals, I have, yours truly and James and Anna. I mean, that's it. That's the national championship
mixed with Anna. Yeah.
Mixed with Anna. And on the men's side, I have kind of a few feelers out there. There's about 4 or 5 guys that I'm talking to, and with the kind of the recent shakeup in men's pickleball world, I'm just kind of waiting around for somebody. My biggest thing is, I have a full-time job. I'm a senior portfolio manager, a dad with 3 kids, and so I've got to have a partner that I know that we can get into the main draw, because I just can't get there on a Monday to qualify. But I've talked to Brendan Long, Johnson Cola, Big H is on that list of guys that I want to play with. And so I might end up playing one with him too.
Yeah, he's a beast, dude. Me and him won 8 straight men's matches at MLP. 8 straight.
Yeah, the thing that the part that really impressed me, and that's where I got that Triple Crown statement from a year ago, was you were playing right side
A little.
with
Yeah,
Hayden.
yeah.
I mean, I was like,
Or
what's the guy
wait,
doing on the right?
I was playing the left with Hayden.
I just want to make sure you're awake.
I was playing the left. I'm not
I
playing
just
the
want to make
right
sure
with
you're
Hayden.
awake.
I'm awake.
James, you were just nodding your head. I just want to make sure you're awake. That's
Oh, I'm with you. Well,
that's
it's
right.
funny because we did play some rec with me on the right. So I was wondering if you saw that, and it didn't go well. It didn't go well at
No,
all.
no, you guys went 8 straight, and you were totally. He's, it was funny because over time they say, like, partners start to kind of imitate each other and do stuff. And
Yeah, yeah,
Hayden was
yeah.
doing the James bounce, and he's out here, and yes, no, it was really really fun to watch. I got to tell you, the one part that I was really impressed was Andre playing singles with you. That was
Yeah.
those first 4 points. When you walked off there, you had that look in your eyes like, oh wow, this next time around we better be close because this guy is
I
on
know.
fire right now.
I thought it was going to be easy, but he could play. He could play singles. But
Yeah,
thankfully, my team carried me. Honestly, I got a little carried in that singles.
no, and that's the cool thing about where I always look back and say, where's pickleball come, and what's happened to my journey in pickleball. And over the past 6-7 months, I've really become a fan of pickleball. Before,
Me
I
too.
was like, okay, whatever. Tell me who won the tournament. Okay, fine. But now it was cool. Like, I was really into. I mean, JW and playing against you guys in singles, and him getting animated with
Oh,
Matt at the back. I mean, it was fun. I was a fan, and that's
oh
that's what
yeah.
I love about where the sport is today. Is there's a lot of changes and a lot of growth, but come on, this crop of players: Fed, Pablo, JW, James, Dylan. Zanes feels like an old guy out there. And
Yeah.
and Matt and Andre playing out there. You got to be a fan, and of course, please, if I get started on the women, this podcast is going for 2 hours. There's so many exciting gals out there, and the way they're playing, it's awesome.
Hmm.
So it's hard not to be a fan of the game today.
It is. Yeah. Well, let me ask you one more important question because I feel like you'd be a good person to answer this. There's a lot of talk of the first round. So last first round, there were 7 women and 5 men. And now there are some owners saying that this next first round could be like 8 men, 4 women, 9 men, 3 women. What do you think is like the best layout? Do you think you should go for like a top woman in the first round? Should you go for a top male in the first round? Like, should it be even? What do you think makes more sense?
Man, I mean, you're talking to a guy that's I'm not a student of the draft.
Mm,
I just know that there's. I mean, when it comes to MLP, right? Guys like Julian Arnold, Thomas Wilson, Rafa, some of these guys start to become, much harder commodities than others. But I still truly believe that it's really important to have two very solid girls. So
me too.
I'd be more inclined to picking the women because, and it's nothing to do with the depth of the game or any of that stuff. I just feel like it's kind of cool to be up 1-0 than being down 0-1.
Yeah, that's a good way to
That's
start.
that's
Yeah.
that's the way I look at it, right? I'd rather go up 1-0 than be down 0-1. And so I'd love to have, two strong women up there first. And
So
there's a
that, yeah.
lot of solid guys. And then the other thing is, once the rally scoring is so unique, like I told you about in singles, that it's very tough to pick on one or the other. It doesn't really happen as much. I mean, you played MLP, you didn't really feel like they just sometimes you could be playing actual, pro tournament, and you might be standing there for like 20 balls because it's just a cross court ding. That doesn't happen a lot in MLP. MLP, there's a lot of all 4 players getting involved. But
Yeah.
I'd rather go up 1-0. So definitely I'll pick 2 women.
Well, this brings me to my final question because I was talking to
Oh,
Anna about this, and we were like, who isn't a GM or isn't a coach of an MLP team who probably would be the best at it? And one of the first people that came up was you. You would be a beast of a GM or a coach. are you considering that in the future? Is that a possibility?
Absolutely. I'm absolutely 100% considering that. I was asked to be a coach by 2 or 3 teams last year. And maybe it's my ego. Because right here, James, right here, I think there's only 3 guys in the world that are better than me. Okay,
Oh
right here. And
yeah.
otherwise, everybody else, they're broke. I can beat them. So the rest of the bracket, go tie your shoelaces, come ready to play with me. Okay. But here, there's only 3 guys better than me. So, but
Who are those
I,
guys? I gotta know who those guys are. Dane
oh,
Gingrich?
that's gonna open a whole nother can of worms. It's gonna open, yeah. So but so and by the way, JW is not one of them.
Oh,
JW
no way.
heads, ask Dylan, heads up. JW, no problem. He knows it too. He can't handle the curry. JW is like milestones. He can't handle the curry. Okay.
That's
So
funny.
but bottom line is, absolutely, I would, you know this this MLP draft is really big for me, because this is like my chance to say I'm going to play MLP. This year, I had one goal. I told everybody, if I lose every match all year, but I win the US Open, it's been a great year. Okay. I wanted to win the US Open. That tournament is near and dear to my heart. And as the years progressed, I want to play MLP one more time. And then next year, I want to be involved in GM coaching. And I really like where I am right now with pickleball. I like the fact that these younger players are coming to me and saying, what can I do to get better? And, I work with them, and then they take off. And it's a cool feeling.
Yeah, I think you'd be amazing at it, because the most important thing for me, at least when I've looked at like GMs of my teams or coaches of my teams, the number one thing is just that I like them. Being likable is really important, and that's not going to be a problem for you. So, yeah.
Off the court, on the court, very few people like me, right? But,
Across the
off the
net.
court, off the court, it's awesome. And
Yeah.
it's like last year, I still remember, we went out and played like 9, 10 games in Owensboro, and then went out to the country club and chatted and had dinner, and we talked about partners and talked about everything, and that's it. I really, really feel like I can make a positive impact to a team, but to really help some of these younger guys. Because, man, James, I got to tell you, you're living the dream right now. You, Anna, all you guys. I mean, you got to
Yeah,
enjoy this.
it's true.
Enjoy this journey. Enjoy every minute of it, because it is incredible how special it is. I mean, I tried to be on the tennis tour. I did it for 2.5 years. Made like $14. Had my expenses paid for. But man, it was very tough. And this pickleball world is awesome. You guys are in a very special place. Enjoy it.
We're lucky. All right. Well, thank you for coming on, Altaf. It's been great. And most importantly, good luck on Wednesday. That's the draft. Good luck.
Thank you. And, I guarantee you after this is going to be the podcast where you get more than 4,000 viewers. So just let me know when you want to do part 2. And hey, Beer City it's going to be loud. Be ready.
If we win Beer City, we got to get you back on. Or if we get to the finals, Championship Sunday, Beer City, you got to come on next week. So I hope so.
It doesn't matter. When we, after the amount of fun we have in Beer City, people will be wanting us to come on.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Hey, James, say hi to Anna.
I will.
I'll see you in a week.
Okay.
All right.
See ya.
Thanks,
Bye.
buddy. Bye.